Let's get into today. As I mentioned, what we're going to be sharing is defining your ideal client. And so why is this important, and really why are we talking about this kind of at the outset of this AI program? In the coming weeks, we're going to get really tactical with a lot of different tools, a lot of different strategies, a lot of different prompts and what you can do. So really, my purpose here on Thursday and today was to set an overarching framework that gives us some guardrails as we head into the next few weeks. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, a lot of new ideas, a lot of things that are shared with you to try. But what we found most successful, especially with new tools and new technologies, when you have at least some sort of framework or some guardrails around you as you're exploring with them, that really sets the tone and sets the frame for what you're doing. And so that is what we want to go ahead and have for you today. So what does defining your ideal client really overcome? So there's a few problems that we use this tool to really overcome and focus in on. The first one being confusion. If you think about it, especially if you're in a business that's been around for a while, you probably got a lot of different customer avatars, which is totally great. The problem is, over the years, as your customer avatars grow in number and in size, you get further and further away from who that ideal client is. So it's taking a step back and redefining exactly who that kind of ideal customer, that ideal client is, a really great foundational piece that then you can go in and look and say, okay, now I can branch out and customize my avatars more specifically to make sure that they are derivative of the ideal customer and not someone completely different, and we're attracting the wrong people. Not only that, if you've got a team, you most likely have multiple different people writing copy. You want to be able to have clarity on how do we message these people? What are they dealing with in their daily life that we're trying to solve for them? What are the pieces that are going to make them make a buying decision? And what do we know to be true about those people? You also have too many opinions on what that is. When you have a centralized document for the company that people have agreed on and been able to, to collaborate on and have a final piece that can be used throughout the company, whether it's for product or marketing or sales, it provides a common language that you're able to use. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here, because the reality is, we really need to fine tune who we want to attract and who we want to bring in, because when you're speaking to everybody, you call out no one. And that's what we want to overcome. And that's what we want to make sure we're really honing in on is our ability to speak to that specific ideal person and leverage that ability with the AI that we're using and the tools that we're using to make sure we're honing in the content we're producing. Problem number 2 is lead quality. The most common problem I see with marketers and with businesses that are complaining of getting bad leads or low quality leads is they aren't talking to their specific ideal customer they serve. Their messaging isn't matching their ideal customer, and so they're not bringing in the right person. So I always ask people to go back and audit, who are you actually trying to message to? Who is that ideal person? And make sure your marketing's in line with that. Because the dangerous piece here, especially with AI, is if you're using AI with the wrong messaging, it's only going to make those things even worse. If you don't have the guardrails for AI to give back the specific content that you need and the specific copy that you need that's going to convert for your ideal customer, you're going to get further and further away and have potential to get even worse results from your leads. And really look at it and say, well, is AI not working? Well, the answer is probably no, it's just not getting the right inputs that it needs. And last here, there we go. Last is access. As I mentioned on Thursday, everybody now has access to AI. Access isn't a differentiator anymore. Your prompts will help, but they aren't strong enough on their own. So we need high quality inputs to create high converting and attention grabbing outputs that meets our ideal customers where they are at. So those are the problems we're looking to overcome. And this one piece, this one worksheet really will allow you to have that, and it'll be a great repository for you to pull from in the coming weeks as we look at new prompts and new strategies that we're using to attract the right customers. So my goal for you today that we're going to work towards is define our ideal aspirational customers so we can focus on our messaging, prompting, and channel strategy to attract more of the customers we want and repel the ones we don't want. So hopefully we're all aligned to that. Hopefully everyone wants more of the customers they want and to repel the ones they don't want. I'm assuming that if you're here and if you do marketing or run a business at all, that you would agree with that statement. And that's what we're looking to solve for. And the way we're going to do that is with the ideal client profile. profiler, sorry. And this is really getting back to who your core ideal customer is. To us and where this comes from, I know a lot of the questions that we've got is how's this different than customer avatar? They're complementary, right? So this piece is really saying who is that one core ideal customer, or maybe it's two ideal customers that we really hone in on, and then we build our customers out from there. So for instance, you may be at let's say the SaaS company, right? And you've got a serve yourself option, sign up on the website option, then you've got an enterprise sales level option. So you've kind of got two core ideal customers there, clients that you're looking to attract. Those would be your two ideal client profiles that you'd want to have. And then your avatars are going to reach out from there. So within that subset of ideal people, now what are some of those subsets that we can customize our messaging to and branch out to bring in more people? But first, we've got to make sure we're honed in on that ideal 1 to 2 types of clients or customers. So how does it work? I'm going to take you through step by step. So what you'll see actually pop back over here is you guys can pull up the sheet if you've got it in front of you. It's going to be super helpful because we're going to walk through each box. I'm going to show you what it is, what it means, and I'm going to show you how to use AI to help generate so you're not staring at a blank page and you can customize to what you want it to be. So let's get into how it works. So step 1, we're going to go into, it's going to be that first box on the top in the middle, which is going to be your demographics and your interests. And this is really where we want to start in saying, what are kind of those 4 key demographics and interests of people that are ideal clients that we're looking to attract. So the question we're going to ask here is, what traits are common among my ideal aspirational clients? How do I know that those are common traits that those people have that, maybe our non-ideal customers don't have? Comparing those two is a great way to look at this as well, and saying, well, are these common traits among my ideal customer and my non-ideal customer? Then that's not something you want to put in this box. You want to look at pieces that are unique to your ideal aspirational clients or customers. So how do we want to do that? I'm going to show you guys how to kind of generate ideas, especially if you don't know the answers to this yet, so that you're able to fill out this sheet as we go into the week, just simply using free ChatGPT. So kind of step 1, I popped over to ChatGPT. First and foremost, said, hey, can you help me identify customer demographics and interests? Certainly. I'll need some more information to get started. What type of business or product are you trying to identify customer demographics and interests for? And what kind of data information do you already have about your customers? This is a really cool kind of nugget and takeaway on top of what we're talking about today. You can always ask the AI if they're able to help you with a request. Like, it was as simple as, can you help me identify this? The answer is yes. And then it's going to tell you what the minimum inputs it needs to generate that content is. So in this case, it says, sure, I'm happy to do that, but I need to know what kind of business or product that you want to focus on and what kind of data information you can already provide about your customer. Now, I'm going to pull through an example that I used from Friday when I was sharing my 10-minute test, where I created a fictitious company called Matt's Macaroons, which is a local bakery selling macaroons. And that's what I'm going to use throughout here. So we have very specific language that we can carry throughout and see how this is done. So I took that information from ChatGPT and said, okay, great. Well, my company, Matt's Macaroons, sells artisanal macaroons with a Parisian influence. All our ingredients are non-GMO, and we use only grass-fed butter and cage-free eggs. Our typical customers are females ages 35 to 45. So me as the bakery owner, the way I went about this is, what information do I have? Maybe it's a newly opened bakery and I haven't been in business for very long, and I want to have foundation, because I know a lot of times we get questions about, like, well, what if I don't have customers yet? What if I'm just getting started, only have my first few customers? So I wanted to take it down a little bit from the details. Now, if you've been in business for years and years, the more information you can fuse into that and explaining what the product is or what the business is and the kind of data you already have about your customers, the better it's going to help you really formulate this. So, and this is what it came back with of some specific demographics or interests that the customer may have. So females ages 35 to 45, middle to high income earners who are willing to pay a premium for high quality and healthy food. They're probably college educated or higher. I don't know that necessarily matters. So again, editing this is going to be a real big part of the process that we're going through if you're going to leverage these tools. Geographical location, urban or suburban areas with higher income education levels. Okay. And then interests. So foodies and people interested in culinary arts makes sense. Health and wellness enthusiasts who are interested in non-GMO and organic food. Maybe doesn't make sense if they're health and wellness enthusiasts per se that we're selling macro, but that might be an outlier there. People are interested in French culture, cuisine, desserts, social media users who are interested in sharing visually appealing food and desserts on platforms like Instagram, where people are looking for unique and high quality gifts to give for special occasions such as birthdays or holidays. So what ChatGPT did here is allow me to have at least a foundation. Now, my guess is a lot of you out there probably already kind of have these demographic interests for your people and can identify this with real data, and that's a better place to start. But again, I wanted to do this this use case for you guys, whereas if I didn't have much of that data, whereas this was a newer business or I was starting things out, so we can kind of start from scratch and go through it. But the more real data you can fuse into it, the better. And that's why, kind of my note here is, when possible, gather real specific data. Now, the question is, how do I gather real specific data when it comes to my demographics and interests? Well, there's a few ways to do that. First of all, be conducting customer surveys. You can gather data on your customer's purchase history and analyze it, see if there's any patterns or trends. That's as easy as going into your CRM, looking at your ideal customers. What are maybe those top 5 or 10% of customers that you've had in your business that are ideal for you? You can also pop over and look at social media analytics to identify what kind of content your customers engage with and what topics they're interested in, looking at some of your top posts, your top comments, and what's over there. Additionally, you can use tools like Google Analytics to understand what kind of website traffic you're getting or gain insights into your customers' online behavior. But I find that, conducting surveys, and even better, we'll talk about this at the end, is conducting actually real customer interviews can give you great insights. So what I want to do is say, okay, well, I want to conduct a survey of my customers. I've figured out who are some ideal customers are, and I want to go and survey them. What should I ask them? Well, that's another fun thing we can do with AI. And so we popped over into demographics or popped over to ChatGPT and said here, act as a customer experience professional that works at a bakery. The company just launched a brand new product, a salted caramel macaroon. They want to send out a survey to people who've already bought their macaroons to gauge their experience, look for ways to optimize the product, potentially use feedback as a part of future marketing initiatives. Come up with a survey that can achieve these things. And that's what we're able to do, is get a baseline of a survey that we could send out to potential customers. So questions like, how satisfied were you with the purchase? What did you like most about the salted macaroon? Was there anything you disliked? On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you recommend it? Have you purchased any other products from our bakery? And so on and so forth. All the way down to how likely you purchased again. A fairly simple survey, but again, it's a great way to just say, I need to do a survey. I need survey questions. Let me get 10 question foundation in about 10 seconds. And so this is a really cool tool that you can, a really cool way that you can just go and get a baseline for the survey that you want to send out to your customers to get, again, some of that real data back on their interests, on their demographics, and their feedback about what you do. So putting that all together, if you guys want to go about it this way, I want to share kind of the prompt that we use there. Again, as we go throughout these weeks, I want to give you as many prompts that we use and ones that we like throughout it. So it's pretty simple. Step 1 was tell them what to act as a customer experience professional that works at XYZ type of company. In this case, it's bakery. The company has just launched a brand new product and explained the type of product that it is. In this case, it was the salted caramel macaroon. They want to send out a survey to people who have, and really there you can put in whatever action you wanted them to take. Maybe I wanted to survey people who bought macaroons from us before, but haven't bought the salted caramel macaroon because it's a new one coming out. And so we want to get their feedback on our existing macaroons, see if there's anything we should change as we roll out this new product. And we're looking for it to gauge their experience, look for ways to optimize the product, and potentially use feedback as part of the future marketing initiatives, and then come up with a survey that can achieve these things. So wrapping up kind of demographics and interests there, I'm going to go throughout this presentation and I'm going to do a summary of each of these steps that we go through, showing you real examples of how we then took this information and data that we have to then fill out this ICP, and then we'll have a finished one at the end. So you can kind of follow along step by step on how we did this. So demographics and interests, females ages 35 to 56 is who we're targeting. They're going to be middle to high income earners. This is more of we see our macaroons as a luxury. We're the higher priced macaroons in town. because the ingredients we use, it's a luxury item that we're targeting. They're most likely in urban and suburban areas with higher income and education. They're foodies and people interested in culinary arts, and they're social media users interested in visually appealing food. We know that they love to post pictures about the food that they're eating and cool stuff that they're finding out in the town that they're engaging with. So that kind of gets out of the way the step one demographics and interest. That gives us a really simple foundation of who is that person that we're going after, and we're going to take that information and really expand beyond it as we go to fill in the rest. So that's kind of that top box, and following down from there, step two, we want to define the previous actions and purchases. So what does that mean? So previous action and purchases, the question you want to ask yourself and the data that you have is, what investments have they already made? What's their potential sunk cost? So have they made other purchases? Have they tried other ways to solve the problem that you're solving? It doesn't necessarily have to be that they've made an investment of money. Have they made an investment of time? Have they been researching, coming up to, but what really in an ideal, again, back to ideal, I want to make this point again, is we're talking is in an ideal sales conversation, an ideal customer journey. What are those previous actions or purchases they would have made that's going to lead them to a conversion decision with your company? Now, popping back over to ChatGPT for the above customer, that's the nice thing. If you're staying within any of the chat tools, Jasper's got a chat function as well as some of the others. You're able to really keep up that chat within a single kind of mental thread. So if you're starting to, one kind of quick note for those who are newer users to AI, if you want to ask different things, especially with ChatGPT, make sure to start a new chat, because you're asking something on one topic and then try to change that current chat into talking about a different topic or a different person. It will tend to pull in some of the earlier data that it's used to provide those questions. So you want to make sure that you're starting fresh with a new chat and giving it as much information in the beginning of that chat as possible that you're able to then pull through throughout the rest of the chat that you're having and the questions that you're asking. So in this case, I was able to say for the above customer, what previous actions may they have taken related to purchasing our macaroons? And we got a great list here of a bunch of different ones. And where now we sit is through using AI and ChatGPT, now we need to overlay the human element. What we need to do here is trim through the fat and only choose what is relevant to our companies and to our customers. So going through here, some of the previous actions they took that stood out for our bakery is, well, they followed other artisanal or gourmet food brands on social media. Okay, great. We know who we can go look at and target there. They attended food and wine festivals or other food related events. That stood out to us. There's, our bakeries in a town that's got a lot of food and wine festivals. Maybe it's something we should be looking at attending and sampling our macaroons there. So that's kind of step one of the previous actions. Then we want to take it the next step and say from the above customer, what previous purchases may they have made related to purchasing our macaroons? And you'll see there I use the word may in these questions to get a list of options so that then I can fine tune and trim. I don't want to be specific as much. I want to say, what's something they may have done? Give me some options. And so that we can use that human element to really fine tune in and see what kind of options are out there versus being trying to be too specific with it and force an output that may not be accurate. So based on the information of the typical customer, considering the high quality gourmet nature of your product, here's some possible previous purchases. And what stood out to us here would be one, other premium gourmet desserts or chocolates such as truffles. Okay, very interesting. Someone that has previously bought truffles could be a really great purchaser for us. The other thing being organic and non-GMO snacks and food products. That's a big selling point, a unique selling proposition of Matt's Macaroons is we fly in our butter and eggs from France once a week. They're all grass-fed, non-GMO, cage-free, all that kind of stuff to go along with it. So looking at people that are interested in that, that's a point that we can say if they've made those types of purchasing decisions in the past, that might be an ideal customer for us. And even more so, layering on top of that would be luxury or specialty food items that are often associated with high-end or French cuisine, such as caviar and foie gras. Well, if someone is really into French cuisine, and especially the luxury and specialty food items of it, that a macaroon could be a great fit. So now we're able to take what we find and come over to our previous actions and purchases and say, okay, what is this person going to look like? So other premium gourmet desserts they probably have bought along the way, something like buying truffles. They are a shopper and user of organic or non-GMO snacks and desserts. They like luxury French, should say food, typo there, thanks. Sorry about that. Luxury food items such as caviar and foie gras. That's really going to fine tune down our ideal customer. They attend food and wine festivals and they follow artisanal brands on social. Now we've got our kind of previous actions and purchases for that ideal customer, and it kind of ticks the first two boxes there. And so from there, we're going to move into say now, okay, we know generally who they are. We have an idea of who their demographics and interests are. We kind of know what some of the previous actions or purchases they would have taken that make them an ideal customer. So the next step is saying, what are some of those key purchase drivers that would make them make a decision to make an investment with us and to buy our macaroons? So key purchase drivers. The question we want to ask ourselves when we're filling out this box is, what causes them to take action, or we would need to be true to enable them taking action? What is going to get the conversion, right? At the end of the day, what's going to be important to them and what's going to get that conversion? And so what I want to share with you are some different types of purchase drivers as you think about this, especially, again, having that human filtering element. If you are using ChatGPT that you're able to go over and filter with, is what are those types of purchase drivers that we should be looking for and considering? So there's 7 types of purchase drivers that we've identified that you can utilize and leverage throughout this. Number 1 is going to be necessity. What needs or pain points does your customer have that your product alleviates? Now, one point on pain points and needs, what you really want to expand your thinking about, there's kind of really 2 different types of needs, right? There's urgent needs and there's latent needs. The urgent needs being, person knows they have a need right now, it's got to be solved. The latent need is they may not actually know that they have this problem that needs to be solved, but they definitely do. They just don't know it yet. So to give you an example of that, an interesting analogy would be, let's say I sold water pumps. Right? I'm a water pump salesman that's out there selling water pumps. So, and I have one house left that I'm going to try to get them to install a water pump in their basement so it doesn't, in case it floods. But what that neighbor may not know is that all their neighbors' basements have flooded within the last 6 months. They're the last one that hasn't flooded and they have no idea. And by simply presenting them with this fact, maybe all it takes to turn a latent need into an urgent need. It's like, hey, all of your other neighbors, their basements have flooded. They've lost precious valuables and they've had damage to their structure. Like, your house is not flooded. That's great. But what happened if it does? The fact that this has happened to everybody else in the last 6 months would show us that, there is a need here and it's something that you want to focus on. So understanding the difference between urgent and latent needs and being able to change that in your messaging. The second type of purchase driver is convenience. Someone's going to decrease their hassles and make life easier for them. Security and protection. Does your product decrease the chance of future pain and shield your customer from the unknown? Maybe it's fear of missing out, FOMO. Maybe there's afraid they want to get the same benefits, rewards, and prestige that the other buyers have experienced. They just want to follow along with the herd. Maybe it's identity and belonging. And this is really identity reinforcement. Everybody is trying to conceal their weakness and compensate with money. What can they buy that's going to conceal that and really secure their identity and their belonging of who they are? Maybe it's as simple as price. Sometimes the discounter value is just enough to buy the stuff they don't want or need. It's like when you're at the supermarket and it's a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 sale. You were there to get 1 box of pasta. You have no plans to cook another box of pasta, but it's buy one, get one free. You're going to get that box of pasta and get that second box for free. Sometimes price is the driver there. And last, pleasure. Customers obtain joy by buying things that make them happy. So in this case, a lot of the purchase drivers that we're going to be focusing on for Matt's macaroons are going to fall more in that pleasure. Customers obtain joy. It's a luxury item. But there's also a little bit of identity and belonging in there, in that this is kind of a luxury item. It's higher end. It's something they can share on social media. It's something they can kind of impress their friends with as gifts and whatnot. So that's what we're looking at there. So popping back over to ChatGPT, and then it will say from the above customer, what may be their key purchase drivers? And what we got back was, based on customer demographics and interests you provided, here are some key purchase drivers that may motivate your typical customer to purchase your macaroons. And editing through here, what kind of stood out for Matt's macaroon is one, the high quality ingredients. We know that's a big selling point of what we have, and that's something we're going to highlight for our customers, for our ideal customer. That's important to them. For our ideal customer, high quality ingredients are very important. That is why we take the extra effort to actually fly in the eggs and the butter and make sure they're grass fed and cage free. They're actually from France. There's non-GMO ingredients, et cetera, et cetera. So we want to, our ideal client, that would be important to them. It's also important to our ideal client about unique flavors. They want to try new and interesting flavor combinations. There's plenty of supermarkets out there that sell macaroons they can go buy that they might be able to get like a, vanilla or a strawberry or whatever is out there. But at Matt's Macaroons, we make very interesting, new, exciting flavors that roll out every month. And visual appeal. Again, going back to that identity reinforcement, what we want to make sure is that, we've got these macaroons that really stand out. There's something they can post on social media, something they can share with their friends. And looks really cool and is an experience along with just having a little treat. And last, personalization and customization, the ability for them to have custom packaging or gift messaging. So what that kind of gave us here was a foundation for our key purchase drivers. So one being high quality ingredients, non-GMO grass fed. We've got the unique flavors with our salted caramel flavor coming out. The visual appeal here, we might decide is that we've got a social media booth, a photo booth that we end up building at our bakery where people can take really cool, unique pictures with their macaroons there at the bakery. And then personalization and customization, highlighting our birthday packages that we sell that people are able to give to their friends to impress them. So we've kind of now filled out that center of the ideal client profiler. We've got kind of those three foundational pieces that we really need to know about who our ideal customer is. And now what we want to do is say, okay, we're going to kind of step out to the sides there, which is going to be that before and after, which is step 4 here is going to be our before and after. So before and after, the reality is people don't buy products or services, they buy transformations. They're buying a transformation. It's something that's going to take them from where they are at today, their before state, to where they are after they make that purchase, their after state. So their before state, they might be in pain, they might be bored, they might be unsuccessful, frightened, or unhappy for a number of reasons. And what we're trying to do in our messaging and what we're doing as marketers in general is show them what the after state looks like. We're trying to get them from before to after, where our product has stepped in to solve their problems. So they're free of pain, they're entertained, they're successful, they're unafraid, they're happy, they're feeling all of those positive emotions. But to get there, we want to be really specific about what is the before and what's the after. Like we can say we want to get them from unhappy to happy, but that's just foundational. We need to get specific on what that before and after state is. And I know this is a place where people sometimes have a tough time understanding where is that before. I know what the after is for my customer, right? I know what I can make them feel, but I'm not quite sure what the before is. And that's a cool place that we can leverage AI to give us a great foundation to ideate and have new ideas. So when we did this here, it was a simple prompt for the above customer, write before and after statements for what they have, how they feel, what their average day looks like, and their status in life. And it gave us some great options here. What they have before. They had limited options for gourmet and artisanal desserts that meet the standards for quality and healthy ingredients. Again, as you'll see here, the more we were able to build up that chat, it got more specific to the answers that we gave it, or to the data that we gave it earlier on, or after they have access to high quality and delicious macaroons with non-GMO ingredients, grass-fed butter, and cage-free eggs. How they feel they're frustrated or dissatisfied with the lack of healthy and high quality dessert options for them. After they're satisfied to have found a new gourmet dessert option. What does their average day look like? Before, they're busy and stressed with little time for self-care, indulging in luxury items. Again, we're of a luxury sale here. Where after they're enjoying small indulgences like a delicious macaroon as a way to add some pleasure and luxury to their busy day. And their status in life. As we talked about, these are, we're targeting our ideal client as middle to high income individuals. So they're successful and accomplished, but feeling limited in their ability to indulge in high quality and healthy food options after they are able to indulge in gourmet desserts that align with their values and priorities for healthy living. Now, quick note I want to make. AI can't and shouldn't do all the hard work for you. What I'm giving you here is a great starting spot and a place that can give you ideas. So there's nothing harder, from what I believe and what a lot of people will agree with, there's nothing harder than staring at a blank screen or a blank piece of paper and starting from scratch. This is a great place to be able to ideate and start with something more than scratch, give you ideas, expand your mindset, or even put into words things that you know to be true about your customer, but you just can't quite figure out the words to say it right. But not only shouldn't do all the hard work for you, the big part is can't. And this is where I kind of wanted to share the last piece of before and after is that good versus evil. And so that is one limitation that we have here, especially if you're using a free option like ChatGPT, because looking at it for the above customer, think about their before state from a moral standpoint. Is there some greater evil in the world that you could use to tie into their before state? And the simple answer there was no. As an AI tool, I tried to massage this wording probably a dozen different ways to try and get some sort of answer for it. And it just refuses to spit out any sort of usable content or ideas to use it. So it's something that we have to kind of step in and say, okay, let's put on our thinking caps and do some of the hard work. So I'm going to give you a framework for how we figure out kind of that good versus evil. What's that internal battle that they have that's going to be alleviated with your customer? So in the before state, for good versus evil, think about the before state from a moral standpoint. Again, is there some greater evil in the world that you can use to tie into this before state that your person might be feeling? So in this case, for my macaroons, came up with, the food industry is loaded with preservatives, additives, and fillers that destroy our planet and are bad for our health. Even those artisanal and gourmet snacks on the shelves have it too. That's kind of what they're fighting against is, I want this high-end, high-quality product that doesn't have any fillers, isn't going to be bad for the planet, isn't going to use eggs from chickens that are in, crazy millions of chicken farms and all that kind of stuff. So the after then is going to be, think about the evil from the before state. Now describe how your avatar can overcome it and do good for the entire world. So in this case, and again, this is where it can get really challenging. And it's not always the easiest thing to do, but it's worth it at the end, because these are the type of hills that, you kind of plant a flag in and say, this is what our company stands for. And sometimes if you're stuck, a good way is to work backwards and say, what are some of those things? What are some of those we believes? What are some of those things that our company stands for? And kind of put that in the after state. And then say, what would our ideal customer kind of feel before that? As the before is that evil that we're overcoming. But for this example, we said the after state be my daily small indulgence is not only good for the planet, also aligns with my health goals. I'm eating cleaner. The animals that it's being produced from are sustainable. They're taken care of healthfully and whatnot. And so that's kind of that good for an entire world. Yes, this small sampling, we're talking about a dessert, but it also does give an ethos to what we're talking about here and what our customer is going to believe. So that's a really good spot to sit down and say, what is kind of that before and after good versus evil that our customer might need to believe is true for them to align with our goal and become our ideal customer. And so what does that give us? Gives us a really great foundation that we can fill in here. Again, before they have no options for gourmet or artisanal desserts that meet their standards for quality and healthy ingredients, or after they've accessed non-GMO macaroons that use grass-fed butter and cage-free eggs, plus they're delicious. Before, they feel frustrated at the lack of healthy and high-quality dessert options available to them. After, they feel excited to have a bakery in town with gourmet desserts that are good for the planet and their health. On an average day, they're constantly busy and stressed with limited times for indulging in luxury baked goods. After, they're enjoying a daily small indulgence like a delicious macaroon, and it adds some pleasure to the end of a busy day. In status, they're successful and accomplished, but limited in their ability to enjoy luxury small indulgences. Where after, they are confident, empowered, able to indulge in gourmet desserts that align with their values and priorities. And then again, the good versus evil with the food industry with preservatives and additives and fillers that destroy our planet versus the daily small indulgences that are good for the planet in line with the health goals. So that's kind of, now we've got the top of that sheet filled out, right? We've got kind of those 3 middle boxes, the 2 side boxes, and it kind of leaves us with just two more pieces to kind of round out our ideal client profile, right? So step number 5 is going to be frustrations and fears. So frustration and fears, what you want to ask yourself as we're going through this, and what we figure out is, what keeps your customers up at night, and or what do they find most annoying? And so going back over to ChatGPT for the above customer, what may be their fears and frustrations? And so based on customer demographics and interests you provided, here's some potential fears and frustrations your typical customer may have. And then what I did through here was go in and edit and say which ones are important, aligned to our brand and aligns to our ideal customer. So they limited options that they have. We're providing a new option that is healthy and clean for them to eat. Feeling guilty about indulging. Your typical customer may feel guilty or indulgent when eating dessert, especially they're health conscious. Giving them that ability to say, this is eating cleaner, you're able to enjoy a little bit. It's going to help those busy days feel a little bit easier without overindulging. And they're afraid that they might be disappointed with the taste or quality. They might have been frustrated with other desserts they've tried. And so what that might inform for us is that we need to have more tasting events. We need to be out there and showing people the high standards we have for our gourmet and artisanal foods, or maybe it's social posts or videos that we make talking about the process that we use to create these macaroons. And again, going back to the content we're going to create in the coming weeks, this is really important stuff to know. Like if we believe that our ideal client has a fear of being disappointed with the taste or quality, then maybe what we need to say is, how do we pull that through into a short form video that we're going to put up on social or on YouTube to share what our process is. We're going to have feedback about the tastes. We're going to sample or share the different flavors that we have and the unique flavors we have. And so what we're left with here in the frustrations and fears is, feeling guilty about indulging because they're health and planet conscious, their fear of having disappointment with the taste or quality. They currently can't find a treat that meets their dietary standards. And last, but certainly not least, the opposite of frustrations and fears, or what are their wants and aspirations? So looking over here at wants and aspirations, the question to ask is, what do they desperately want and or aspire to be? That's the question that we want to know, we want to solve for. So popping over ChatGPT for the above customer, what may be their wants and aspirations? We got back, again, another nice list of about 6 answers here. And editing through and looking at them. So the ones that stood out here were, unique and interesting flavors. We know that's a piece that aligns with our bakery, and it's something that our ideal customer would be excited about. A sense of indulgence. It's a luxury treat. It is something that it's not an Oreo cookie. It's a little bit different than that. So we like people that, like to have a sense of indulgence, even if just a small bite. They want some luxury and pleasure in their busy days. And again, the personalization and customization, having the custom gifts boxes for special occasions. So what do we summarize as their wants and aspirations? So we want to add some luxury and pleasure back to their busy days. We want to give them access to unique and interesting flavors, and give them the ability to have unique and personalized gifts for special occasions. And that's through the entire sheet. And that's really something that you can get through quickly. The process I showed you here would allow you to take time and run through it really, really quickly and have it done. What I will say is the more time you spend on this, the harder you work on it, and the more you iterate and perfect it over the coming days, weeks, months, the better it's going to get. But what we've had left here is our final sheet. And I'm not going to go through this. We went through all of it here together, but that's what we have. Now we have this foundational document that we're able to use, 1, throughout this accelerator, and 2, anytime you're really creating, whether it's AI generated copy or content, or it's human generated, it gives you a foundation, a piece to look back to. We've got these internally for a bunch of our different, for our different companies that we go back to all the time to look at and really make sure that we're messaging to the right ideal customer and pulling from. Because what we want to be able to do is take this information and infuse it into our prompting and really take our prompting to the next level. We can be as generic as we want to be with prompts, or we can be very specific with it and infuse it with the right information, the right demographics, the right previous actions, the key purchase drivers, what's their before and after, their frustrations and fear, their wants and inspirations or aspirations. And we're able to infuse that back in depending on the type of content that we want to write. Now, obviously, we're not going to just go and copy and paste 100% of this for every prompt we do. But what we're going to look at and say is, as we're creating those prompts, or writing those prompts is what are the pieces of this ideal client profile are the pieces that are extremely relevant to this piece that we're generating. And having this type of foundation is what will make your use of AI stand out above other marketers out there. So now kind of once you have this initial document, what we want to do is take what you know about your company and the data points that you have and infuse even more details, even more specifics into this document. Write it in the tone of voice of your customer. Look at stories. Are there analogies you can use that better portray some of these feelings, and do that as well. So that's how we get through it. That's the ideal client profiler step by step. And so what I wanted to do was a fun little exercise. I went and generated a couple different examples that I want to share with some bigger companies that most of you should be familiar with. And so we want to walk through their ideal client profiles to give you an idea of what this looks like in practice and once they're done, and see if you can guess who they are. And so let's go through the examples here. So the first one here. So for demographics and interests, this specific company, their demographic and interests are budget conscious travelers, provide finding the best value for their money. They're individuals traveling for domestic business or leisure purposes, and they're interested in convenient flight schedule and customer friendly policies. Previous actions and purchases. They may have bought discount hotel rooms, rental cars, or vacation packages. They may have signed up for a credit card that offers travel rewards or discounts. They've used price comparison sites or apps to compare fees. They've reviewed customer reviews and ratings to gauge airlines' reputation. For the key purchase drivers, they're looking for affordable fares that provide them with the best value for their money. They're looking for flexibility to change flight details without a fee. They don't want to pay extra for checked luggage, and they want convenient domestic flight routes. I bet some of you already know exactly what company this is and could probably already guess from that information alone, but let's go through it as well. Frustrated by unexpected fees or charges. They're frustrated by unexpected fees or charges. Their fear air travel can be stressful with long lines, security checks, and they're frustrated by poor customer service from airlines. What they want is to save money on airfare without sacrificing convenience or reliability. They want an airline with friendly and welcoming customer service. They want flexible flight schedules and user-friendly booking options. So we look at their before and after here. We've got, before they have a desire for affordable travel options and an airline that is flexible if they need to make changes. After, they have access to convenient flight schedules, user-friendly booking options, and affordable fares and discounts. Before, they feel stressed and anxious with the process of booking air travel and the potential for unexpected fees. After, they feel more at ease with air travel. Before, their average day is they're busy. They have a busy schedule with work, family, and other responsibilities, they're trying to fit travel planning into their already hectic day. Or after, they spend less time researching fare and flights since they found a travel options that meets all of their needs. Status: before, they have no sense of loyalty to any particular airline brand. They just want the best deal. But after, they're able to save money and travel more frequently by flying only one airline now. They become brand evangelists. And good and evil: before, the airlines are just profit machines out to take every dime they can on every fee. Or after, they believe air travel can be fun, affordable, simple, with transparent fares and fees. So do we have, I'm guessing we have any guesses out there? Celia, Michelle, or Mark, what do you guys, I can't see the chat in front of me. So do we have any guesses?
We have a lot of Southwest.
I figured y'all would get that one. That was a pretty easy one. So, but yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this is at the end of the day, we've got everything here that talks about the airline and what it is. There's unique pieces throughout here that you instantly thought of Southwest. And that's what's so important about these ideal client profilers, is that we're able to say, who is the ideal client that aligns to our core company and who we believe and who we best serve. And now we use that core message to spread throughout on all the messaging that we do. And so people automatically, I probably only had to make 3 or 4 of these points for some of you to trigger Southwest. It's because they've used this type of core messaging throughout what they do to hit on the points that make them unique and really resonate with their customers. So one more quick one. I bet you a lot of you will get this pretty quickly as well. So demographics: interests, tech-savvy individuals who value high-quality products. Consumers have prioritized design and aesthetics in their purchasing decisions. They're interested in high-end design and premium materials, and they want streamlined user experiences and intuitive interfaces. Previous actions and purchases include high-end fashion items or luxury watches, high-end electronics in the past, such as smartphones, laptops, or cameras. They've read reviews, compared specifications, tried out different products in store, and they've probably even visited one of the brand's retail stores. Their key purchase drivers: technology that's intuitive, easy to use, and that seamlessly integrates into their lives. Technology that's reliable, durable, and that will last for years. And they're drawn to products based on their style and aesthetics. They're frustrated by the learning curve required to use new devices. They're frustrated they need to purchase new devices to make everything work together, but they also have a fear of being too dependent on one company or service. Their wants and aspirations: they want to own the latest and greatest to show off their taste and sophistication. They want to own products that are not only functional, but also stylish. And they want technology that simplifies their lives. For before and after, before they have less intuitive, less aesthetically pleasing technology. After, they have a sleek, modern, easy-to-use product that integrates seamlessly. But before, they feel like they're missing out on the latest and greatest technology. After, feel at the forefront of technology and part of a community of individuals who value high-quality products and design. Their average day before looked like juggling multiple devices that do not sync seamlessly and feeling frustrated by slow speeds or glitches. After their average day, they're able to complete more tasks quickly and efficiently and may feel more productive and organized. Their status before, they're not keeping up with their peers who own more advanced and stylish devices. After, they feel a sense of prestige and status from owning high-end stylish products. Before, good versus evil, the technology devices out there don't express my creativity and style. They all look so boring. After, I'm able to balance my creativity and style with high-powered technology that fits my needs. Do we have any guesses out there, Mark?
We have a couple. We have Apple and Pear.
Yep, Apple. So, and that's the thing is what you can do is completely take out the name of the company and fine tune and exactly know who that is. And that's the power of this tool, right? And so I know this is something where we're not going through and doing the highest, latest, and greatest AI, tips and tricks and strategies and all that kind of stuff. That's what we're getting to in the coming weeks. We're gonna have a ton of that, and we've got tons and tons of amazing sessions that are coming up that are going to give you all of that. But at the end of the day, the point here is the AI-powered marketer uses powerful inputs to enrich the standard outputs that attract and convert their ideal customers. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we are using the most powerful inputs we can to enrich the standard outputs to attract and convert our ideal customers, right? And the way we do that is starting with the foundational piece that's going to enrich our prompts, is going to allow us to get out of the AI tools better information to start with, that is going to allow us to leverage that speed of AI and the speed of automation to put out better and better and better marketing collateral, the better we get with our inputs. So that being said, I got a few action items for you guys here. So action item number 1, gather data points. See what you can find out there. What do you have from customer surveys you've done? What can you look at in social from posts that you've made, ones that have done really well and stood out? What are some of the trends you see? Looking at your Google Analytics data, the people that are coming through, looking at your CRM, the list, pulling your top 5 to 10% of customers. Who are those ideal people and what makes them unique and what makes them stand out, so you're able to do this. Number 2, build your ideal client profile. Really what we're asking you to do here is do the hard work up front so that you can leverage the speed of AI to enrich with the specificity to match your company and your ideal client. That's what we want to do here. And then for those overachievers out here, extra credit would be interview 10 ideal customers. I know as marketers, many of us are introverts and hate the idea of interviewing customers, but it's going to give you so much information and ability to truly understand your customer that much better. Again, the better you can understand your ideal customer, the better your messaging is going to be, the better your outputs in AI are going to be, and the better chances you're going to have of attracting and converting more customers, because at the end of the day, that is what we all want. So those are my action items for you. Love to hear if any of you guys actually choose to take the step to interview 10 ideal customers, how that goes for you. I've challenged a few people in the past few months here to do that for their businesses, and what it has done has been mind-blowing for understanding truly who their ideal customer is, who they thought their ideal customer is, and what they wanted versus who they actually were was completely different when they had those interviews and had those real conversations. So any of those of you that I bet you there's plenty of you in there, I see the chat lighting up that probably have already done this or something similar, but for those of you who haven't, it's a great way to do it. So with that being said, I will take any questions that we got.
All right, let's go ahead and start with Sabrina. We have, did you educate ChatGPT with the steps of your before after statements to obtain this type of result? I had to detail all the steps I needed.
So yeah, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't have to. It is a little tricky because I had done this throughout and giving it information before. I didn't have to in that use case, but what you can do is actually go in and be very specific about those questions. For instance, being able to say, like, for the customer answer following questions, what do they have in the before state? What do they have in the after state? How do they feel in the before state? How do they feel in the after state? You may find that you need to go step by step, but the nice thing is because of the information that's out there and the amount of data points, the AI does understand what before and after is. It understands what that framework is and what that foundation is. So sometimes you need to fuel it a little bit more and get some specifics. Like here, I'll just drop a copy and paste into the chat here. Is, sometimes you might need to break it out a little bit further and be ultra specific with it. And if you do, there's a quick and easy way to do it. But yeah, so it really, fortunately, the answer is it depends. But if you do need to get better results, just being a little more prescriptive and specific with it is great.
Excellent. All right. We also have, do you see any difference between using Jasper Chat and ChatGPT for this? I like how ChatGPT saves conversations, which I don't think Jasper does. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. They're both great tools. Jasper's chat function is still kind of in beta version, so they don't really have the, or at least that I've found, I'd say absolutes, but what I've found is they don't have the ability to start different chats. So you are having to fuel it with a lot more information at the beginning to make sure that thread you're pulling through is actually related to that customer that you're trying to figure out. So in this use case, ChatGPT to me has a little bit more opportunity there because you're able to actually have different chats and make sure you're starting with more of a fresh chat. You don't have any information in there that might be biasing some of the results that you're getting when you're making your queries. So my guess will be that as Jasper Chat goes from beta to an actual rolled out product, they will have that. And what you can do is you can clear your chat in Jasper if you want to. You just don't have then going back and being able to access the saved piece. The nice thing on the Jasper Chat, though, I will say, is you are able to include Google search data and you can try querying with and without it to see the answers you're getting. So again, you're going back and forth between features and what's kind of more important. What I'd say is it doesn't take time at all. Do both. See what the results are, come back and compare what you're seeing, because the time to get the results are so minimal. And this is such an important piece that I would use. If you got it, use both.
That's awesome. Actually, that's a great answer too, because I think one of the things we do as marketers is look for tools that do everything all at once and have all these capabilities, whereas the AI tools we're using just go as simple as possible and it works so fast that you could do both, and it really doesn't take that much more time, especially compared to what you would have had to do with Google. So yeah, that's a great answer. All right, from Kevin, I've been experimenting with ways to have ChatGPT reference content that is beyond the training data. For example, I was able to get it to review a big data set in Google Sheets. Are there other ways to do this?
Not that I've found yet. I mean, I know there's some ways that you can actually kind of create basically your own interface of querying the GPT-3 basically database and overlay it and connect with API there. In terms of other ways to do it within ChatGPT itself, I haven't explored anything. Mark, have you done anything with external data sets on GPT specifically?
No, I'll usually go to a different AI for that. For me, I actually like how ChatGPT is limited because it doesn't, flood with a bunch of extra data when most of the time you're just going on there for simple answers.
Yeah. Yep.
Actually, there's one specifically for whatchamacallit, research reports. And I found that was super helpful because all it did was search research papers. And that is what you need a lot of the time. So I put in mine, illicit.ai. I'll put it in the chat. Or no, I'm sorry, .org. All right.
Awesome.
Let's see. Seamus says, great, thank you. Oh, I don't want to have to replay and transcribe these sessions to get the text I need to type. Thanks, Seamus.
We can figure something out. We'll we've got the prompting sheet that I shared, so we'll make sure. I think most of these should already be on there, but if not, we'll make sure to make sure these are on that sheet. So if you guys missed that on Thursday, it should be in the members area, but it's just digitalmarketer.com/prompts. And so I'll double check once we get off here and make sure if I don't see them on there, then I will make sure that they are added on there so that you can just copy and paste them from there.
Yeah, whenever possible, what we'll do is try to extract the prompts that we actually use within the sessions. That way you guys don't have to search through a bunch of prompts and just give you a simple sheet with those. All right, let's see. Steve says, how do you propose getting an interview with a busy, ideal C-suite client if we're a brand new business, i.e. can't contact an existing client who knows and trusts us?
Yeah, and that's the type of situation where if you don't have those people that you're able to contact, then obviously getting the customer interviews would be tough. I totally get that. And that might be something where right now it's focusing on how do we kind of serve and sell those first 10 customers. And you know, as part of that, maybe you make them a sweet deal as they're onboarding, that if they're willing to share back their feedback and, you know, after 90 days or so of using the product or service, that you'll do something extra cool for them. So you're able to get that information. But in that case, yeah, I mean, obviously if you don't have the customers that you're able to reach out to, then the customer interviews there would not work. That gets a little bit tricky, but from that case, then I would really look at doing a lot of market research and understanding what's out there and trying to pull what you can, even going in and looking, you know, another great way to get a lot of this information is it's a little bit more hard work. I want to show you like the easy work way. But if you want specific stuff that people are saying, is go look at forums, go look at groups that people are in, whether it's Facebook groups, go look at Reddit threads, go look at other places where these people are hanging out and see what they're saying in their own words, and not just from the posts. Some of the best stuff you'll find is in the comments. So I know a lot of times when we're doing research, especially on new products we're rolling out, there's some great Reddit threads that I'll go into and look at and see topics that are related to something we might be rolling out, and look at the comments and seeing what's being said and understanding in our customer's voice, what are they saying? How are they saying it? What are they feeling? What are they experiencing? And you can get a lot of great information about your potential customers there, and understanding how to message them the pains they're feeling.
Awesome. I don't know if you mentioned this, but I also suggest going to reviews for your competitors, because a lot of times your competitors have the exact same product and you'll get both bad and good reviews, and then you can see everything.
That's great.
Cheat. All right. Andy asks, Jasper versus Right Sonic.
I frankly have not done much with Right Sonic. That's the thing. These tools are coming out left and right. So I don't know the answer to that. Mark, have you done anything with Right Sonic?
I have. I've never even heard of Right Sonic. Oh, wait, no.
Anybody here done anything with Right Sonic outside of ND? I don't know anything there, but yeah, that's the thing that's crazy is these tools are coming out all the time and becoming featured all the time. So that's an interesting one. It's definitely worth taking a look at it and seeing how it compares. So thanks for sharing that.
And what we'll try to do is I try to use at least one new tool a day. So if we'll just add it to the list, and then once we try it out, and we usually go into like basic use of it to be like, hey, it was easy right to start. Like I think I mentioned last week, Steve.ai for video creation. It's not going well. So it's probably not going to get a good review, but whenever that happens, either way, we'll share it with you guys. All right. Next, we have Paul. Do you have any thoughts on Jasper brand voice? Can what you showed us today inside of ChatGPT do essentially the same?
You know, I mean, Jasper hasn't officially rolled out the brand voice and how it's going to specifically work. I know they're talking a little bit about it and they're still working on it, and they've got kind of their different variations of what it's going to be. If stuff they're talking about and conversations I've had with them ends up what the product turns into, then I don't think it'd be the same thing. Essentially but you would have this information in there. That's the thing about it, is so much of what we talked about here would go into what a brand voice might look like. I mean, that is essentially what we're talking about here. Is to have an effective brand voice, you also have to understand who your ideal client is. So I think where they're headed and what some of the ideas are there, that it could definitely be a game changer for on the Jasper side for sure. But like I said, what we did here is stuff that you can leverage in your prompting for ChatGPT. You can leverage it over in Jasper and whatnot. And then as they roll out brand voice, we'll play with it, and we'll share with you guys what we find for sure.
Nice. All right. Paul asked, do you have any thoughts on, oh wait, no, sorry. Did that one already. Michelle, I found research online for my ideal customer and asked ChatGPT to expand on this by including the link in the prompt. This was helpful. Is this something you've tried and received good results?
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, also what can pull in, I mean, you can copy and paste source content too. If there's a specific piece that you want to find stuff more about, we've done a lot with that tool. It's a great way to do it. Again, it goes back to the more specificity you can give to it, the better, and the more information you can provide it with. The only thing would be to make sure that the research that you're pulling is super in line with that ideal client. And if it is, then it can be a great tool. You, again, infusing as much specificity into the tool and giving it some guidelines is just going to help you get better results. So I think that's a great strategy to use.
Awesome. All right. Dom, let's see, asked, James Bullis had a particular prompt on the intro Zoom he used after typing, so ChatGPT did not reply. It was something like, it was used for setting context or tone. Actually,
We have James on here. Does James want to
unmute James? There we go.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat. Basically, it says like acknowledge with a ... inside of quotes, and don't write anything new. And it works about 99% of the time.
Nice. It's good enough. All right, Steve asks, can we get a master sheet tracker for all the AI with reference to what they are, can be used for? Yes, we are building that out. And it is going to be awesome. And this kind of goes in line with the reviewing that I said, where we'll try to review whenever possible and give the digital marketer stamp of approval or denial. What should we call that? Denial doesn't sound right.
We just don't recommend it, and then it's not a denial. If it's not on our list, then it's just not recommended.
That's so safe. Okay, rejected. Like it. Oh, that was that. Jacqueline. All right. Sean asks, any other AI tool recommendation apart from Jasper? We have many.
Tons and tons. And I think we talked about, I don't know if it's been set up yet, but I think throughout this accelerator, we're going to have a tools area where we're going to share all these and give feedback and talk about what we're doing. So I don't know if that's set up quite yet, but I think it's going to be over in the Slack channel, if I remember correctly. And that way, oh, it is. Okay, cool. So then we've got that already set up with kind of the tools that we're sharing and the recommendations that we have. I mean, there are so many tools and stuff that we recommend that we think is cool, other stuff that's newer and just don't have enough information on it yet to say this is gonna be a game changer or not, but we'll definitely make sure to share that with you. And there, Michelle dropped the chat in there. If you are in the Slack channel, it's the AI tools and resources. So there's already a bunch of great stuff in there, and we'll be adding to that.
Nice. All right, let's see. Andy asks, do we have rules of how to use brackets, etc.? I'm wondering, I'm probably within ChatGPT. Is that right, Andy?
Is a specific question we have for ChatGPT?
I think he was asking for notation suggestions, like James mentioned, quotations.
Gotcha. Specific rules, it's ever changing there. So there is some stuff. If anybody's got specific, yeah, that's the thing. Midjourney's got their stuff.
Yeah, Midjourney.
I haven't seen a specific like published list from ChatGPT. I don't know if anybody else has found. I mean, I know what people played around with and what we've tried to figure out, but has anybody found a specific anything that's been published at all that kind of says this is what it is?
I don't think so. There's one for DALL-E too. Dolly, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But that usually has to do specifically with visual aspects. I'm trying to think of a text-based one that had the same kind of parameters, but I can't think of it right now. Let's see. So we will keep you up to date on that one. All right, Steve, again, do you think that soon all the best AI will be expensive to use, or might they stay free, cheap for a long time? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a great, I mean, we're hypothesizing. I think what you'll see is it's just like any other service out there. I mean, you look at Netflix. Netflix started as cheap as they could and then have slowly gone up little bits at a time over the years and years and years. So I think it's going to be something where it goes from $20 a month to $700 a month in a month. No, I don't think so. I think there already is a lot of the enterprise level AI tools that larger companies have been using for years that are out there that are at that pricing level. So I don't see where the competition be there. I do think we'll see over time that these prices and the monthly fees creep up. I don't know. I don't believe it's going to be a huge jump. But I don't know, Mark, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought the same thing initially too. I'm like, okay, these people are going to come out with these awesome tools. They're going to have everybody kind of get hooked, and then they're going to start increasing the prices. I don't see it happening just because the amount of competition. I mean, it's like daily is another 1,000 apps.
That's the competition is going to keep the price reasonable at the end of the day because it's an open API interface. I mean, if you've got coding skills, you can go start building your own and modeling a lot of it. Obviously, the ones that really fine tune it and provide better results and really tailor. That's why Jasper, has been around for so long doing what they're doing is they found ways to put better guardrails around the query. They were able to give it specific templates and recipes and all that kind of stuff to query that data in a more informational way and get better results. So, but at the end of the day, it is open information that people can get in there and query. So I think competition in itself will keep the price reasonable.
Yeah, I also think that companies like OpenAI are planning on making money off of SaaS providers versus consumers. So I think whenever possible that the big companies are going to try to keep it free or just like as minimal as possible, and instead get their money from either advertisers or people who are using the AI to drive their own software.
Totally.
All right, let's see. Is there any way to get the files open to translate them into German?
The files, Thomas, can you maybe post that in the Slack or send it in an email? Which files you're talking about specifically? That would be helpful. There's a lot of information out there. There might be some stuff we can do there just in terms of what we do. So
awesome. There are a couple other that we answered. We could just kind of talk about them. Are you a real person or an AI? It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Both.
All the above.
We're all people. Yes. Let's see. Love what we're doing. The avatar today. We'll be going through each. Oh, that was a good question too. We'll be going through each step of the customer value journey using AI. Great question, Kevin. And yes, we will. Today specifically, actually today and the next one, it's really important to establish a few parameters before you do a customer value journey at all, because it'll be a waste of time if you don't know who your avatar is. Don't know what your product positioning is, and just have these kind of base elements. So as we go, you'll get a lesson from one of our external experts, and then we'll be relating it to the CVJ. So that's going to be throughout the whole thing, other than the first couple sessions, because we got to get some pieces done first. Oh, we got another open one. Okay. I'm a sucker for a great price. Anything on AppSumo that we'd be crazy not to buy right now?
I think that's a great place to drop in that tools channel that we have over on the Slack group. Is What's people find? I mean, there are so many stinking tools out there that are coming out for AI that, it's a great place to have it. Anybody's using out there, pop that question in the Slack and let's see what people are using and what they recommend. So, because there is, on there, on the homepage of AppSim alone, there's probably a dozen different AI tools out there. So keeping up with all of them and see what people are using is great.
I would say that I would commit to maybe one per type of AI to try to get some real experience with it prior to just being like, I'm going to try 50 and I'll go with the best one. You're not going to do it. I would do one visual, one text-based, one research-based, and then stick with it for like a week. And then you'll see, like even the Steve one that I keep mentioning because I'm so upset that I couldn't get to work right. I've been trying to use for like 3 days, and now I'm finally like, okay, that's long enough. And now I'll move to another video generator.
Yeah.
All right. Have you seen the AI that autocorrects the eyes in? Oh, I have seen that one. Have you seen the AI that autocorrects the eyes in live video footage to always look at the camera? Great for introverts, camera shy. And then let me look it up. I downloaded that.
It was NVIDIA rolled that out, right?
Was it?
Yeah, they did as part of their live broadcasting stuff. There might be.
Oh, that's right.
That's the thing is all these things
You're
ends up
totally
being 3 or 4 different tools. But yeah, NVIDIA's broadcast function I know does that as well. So if you're looking for something like that, NVIDIA's might be that solution for you.
Yeah, I'll put the link in there.
And then I see Stephanie had asked, do you know when ChatGPT will update their data range to include 2022 or better yet to make it real time? No, I was reading a press release from them recently, and as of right now, even with the new rollout of 4, they're not necessarily thinking the database is going to be updated. As it sits right now, the plan is not to update the database, but there's tools like Bing's AI tool that's, I think it's in beta now, that's rolling out, supposedly is making it real time. You've now got Jasper that you can include Google search into that makes it a bit more real time. So there's tools out there that are doing it. In terms of ChatGPT, they have their press release said it wouldn't be this next update, but stuff changes. They may end up trying to figure it out as they roll it out.
Yeah, I think I actually asked ChatGPT last week or the week before, like, hey, when are you going to update? And it said, don't know any plans. And I also said, like, can you go live? And it said no, based on how it operates currently. So since it's a fixed data set and it's finding patterns, like it can't be live. It's impossible. The amount of, I think it's I actually did the calculation. I think in terms of the amount of data that we upload daily is something like 1,000 terabytes, which is like 3,000 full length 4K movies a day. Like that's what we just produce automatically. So there's something that can do it, but what I theorize even with OpenAI is that ChatGPT is kind of a test platform, and that the long-term solution, we have no idea what it's going to be. And this is really just experimentation at this point. So don't get super invested in anything yet because it's going to change. Other than using it, use it.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Awesome.
All right.
Doesn't look like we have anything else for today.
I think we covered every single. What stock should we buy? OpenAI. It's $30 billion value. Actually, it's probably more than that. I think last month it was a $30 billion valuation, but it's not going to be public for a while, I would say. But just keep your eye out. I'm sure Elon will tweet something and then buy all the stock.
Totally.
All right. But we will, if we have any data or inside information, we'll be sure to share it with everybody, and we could drive it all up together. I'm just kidding. This is not digital marketer. Okay, one last question. Vicky says, one concern I have with AI and video content creation, i.e. deep fakes, etc., and text-to-speech, having background in film production, there's a lot we use in cinema around neuroscience and how our human interaction picks up 70% nonverbal actions. Oh, she keeps going. So question is, any split testing on this? Oh, in terms of conversions. So AI generated video for conversions versus just human created video content.
I've not run it. We haven't, I'm not doing much. I mean, I know we're not doing much in the deep fake stuff at all. I mean, we still produce a lot of the content, the video content ourselves. I mean, when you're talking about something like, helping your eyes so they look at the camera more, I mean, that's cool. To me, that's not a huge, crazy deep fake or anything like that. For video broadcasting, that's fine. But in terms of creating actual videos, I mean, still so much of what we do is, there's still work to be done. We're still marketers. There's still advertising to be done. There's still videos to be made and commercials to be filmed and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these tools are helping. A lot of these tools are helping us make things a little bit easier or fix flubs or that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's going to replace true, commercial creation or anything like that anytime soon.
Now, there is one solution, and it's called Synasia. It's the one where you actually have actors where you could type in something and actors will say it. They've actually been around for 2 years. I talked to not one of the founders, or maybe it was one of the founders. Anyways, but their kind of goal with it was to make videos for product pages. So it was not like, hey, you could create a commercial. It's more like, hey, we're talking about this comb or something. Like we can have an AI person talk about the comb, do some B-roll of the comb itself, and then you have something that's better than just B-roll with a voiceover. So I think in that sense it looks pretty good. I actually was going to go try to have me made just because I'm lazy and just want to do less video. No, I'm kidding. But I was thinking in terms of like, hey, if we want to come up with multiple or examples to teach a lesson, then that might be a use where we might consider it, where it's like, okay, well, if it's just like I have to create 20 of them, like me creating 20 videos will take me a day versus typing in some different stuff and having me talk would be faster. So I think there's some practical uses for it, but it's not like I wouldn't publish a commercial or pay to promote a commercial that I didn't spend time and effort and brains putting together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think I said that was no, we got time. Okay. Will we cover writing sales letters using AI? Thank you, Anonymous.
Yeah. Yes, we will be. Yeah, that's like Mark said, like we have kind of these first 3 are foundational. We got to have some sort of framework. That's what, digital marketers always been about, having some foundational frameworks that we are going to work off of, right? That is so much of what makes all this stuff work and stuff that we continue to use time and time again. And then we're going to dig into the specifics of it. So writing sales letter, long form content, short form content, producing video scripts, producing ad copy, producing images for your ads, all that kind of stuff we're getting into in the coming weeks. There's going to be lots and lots and lots coming up here soon. So get ready for that because we'll be digging in here real quick.
Awesome. And just to wrap things up, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit Matt up on Slack or just comment in the general section, and we'll try to get to those as soon as possible. We'll also make sure that everybody has the answers to these questions on there as well. And thank you, Matt. That was a fantastic lesson. I think the goal is for everybody to do your ideal client profile within 24 hours is usually best, because we do have another class on Wednesday. There'll be new action items. And if you don't implement this right away, even though it seems pretty straightforward, Matt said a lot of nuanced things that you will forget instantly. If you just pull up the PDF and be like, I'm going to fill this out, it's not that easy. So definitely try to do it as soon as you can. And we do have a new section or a new discussion channel. What is that called? I'm trying to find it. Cecilia, do you have that? Show your work?
Or yeah, we do have a show your work channel. They can search for it, and we can post it in the general channel with a link to it.
Perfect. And then while we put that, we'll put that in the side column too, so everybody can see it. And then, post that up, ask for advice or feedback, and I'm sure many of us will be happy to provide it. All right, so I think that closes it up. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you, Matt. That was awesome presentation as usual. Again, drop your ICP in the Show Your Work channel. Make sure you know where that is. As a reminder, the recording of this call will be available in 24 hours. And if you haven't already, please mark your calendars for, I think it's Wednesday, not Thursday. Let me confirm. Wednesday at 2:30 CST.
Awesome.
And you'll be seeing product positioning with Scott Cunningham. If you guys know Scott, he's fantastic. He actually gave a versions presentation at our last mastermind, and it was fantastic. So do not miss that. And we will see you on Wednesday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Shell. See you next time.